Hey everyone, what's going on? Ash and Rima here from MEOdyssey, and today we're just going to be doing a very quick video because a few people have asked us what our opinion is on what hasn't been confirmed news as of this point by Bioware or EA. The fact that Bioware Montreal is being downsized and Mass Effect's been put on ice after Andromeda and all the stuff that's come out from that as well. We won't go too much into it because again it's completely unconfirmed at this point. We're not going to go completely off the handle and overreact or anything, like we're sure like a few people probably already have. But yeah, so Rima's going to read out the statement or a statement that's kind of come out with this news as well, and then we'll go from there. So Rima.
Yeah, so this is the statement released by Bioware Montreal studio director Yannick Roy regarding kind of the statement that I think Kotaku had asked for a statement from EA, and this is the statement they've got back. So I'm just going to quickly read out. So it says, our teams at Bioware and across EA put in tremendous effort bringing Mass Effect Andromeda to players around the world. Even as Bioware continues to focus on the Mass Effect Andromeda community and live service, we are constantly looking at how we're prepared for the next experiences we will create. The teams in EA Worldwide Studios are packed with talent, and more than ever, we are driving collaboration between studios on key projects. With our Bioware and Motive teams sharing studio space in Montreal, we have Bioware team members joining the Motive projects that are underway. We're also ramping up teams on other Bioware projects in development. There will be so much more to come from Bioware in the years ahead. And that's it.
So what you're looking at basically, that Montreal, who were kind of the lead studio on Andromeda, will be a lot of the devs there will be going on to Motive Studios, who are working on Star Wars Battlefront 2. So a lot of them will go in there, and the rest of them will be doing support for Andromeda and Bioware games and things like that. Again, all unconfirmed at this point. We don't know if this is true until like EA or Bioware come up with some sort of statement. And I do agree with someone on Twitter saying that a lot of development studios do this kind of thing when a big game's launched. They'll shuffle around devs to different studios that are within like the kind of bigger arm of the business, and he's right, that's absolutely right. So once the game's done, they'll either move on to new projects or they'll help out with DLC for the game and then move on to other projects within Bioware or EA and stuff like that. So again, that part of it is not really the surprising part. It's just the fact that they said, well, they've apparently said, and I say this in air quotes, that there's going to be a hiatus for Mass Effect. And I already said in my last video that came out that we'd be probably looking at a 3 to 5 year gap before we saw one anyway. And I wouldn't be surprised if it would be kind of 5+ years now at this point, so they can take a kind of longer look at kind of what they want to do with the future of the franchise, really. But I don't know how you feel about it, Nima.
I think, to be honest, as much as we do like Mass Effect Andromeda, we've enjoyed playing the game. We're both on our second run through of the game.
Yep.
And as good as the game is, there's some kind of flaws to it, and there were some downfalls that the studio kind of needs to look at. And with Dylan being their main focus now, they really need to knock that out of the park, especially with the response that Andromeda did get to the larger like community kind of thing, like the larger community. So, and it's only smart that if this is actually happening, they're downsizing and focusing their work on Dylan. That's just smart, because that is the next game coming up anyway. It does kind of make you a little bit sad if they are putting Mass Effect on hiatus, but in the end, we kind of know that most of the games are probably going to be cycled out now, not going to be all being running at the same time as they were in the past. So if it means that Dylan gets more of a focus and becomes a better game for it, then yes. And if it means that Mass Effect, when it does eventually come back, or if it eventually comes back in 5 years to maybe even as scary as it is, like 10 years time, if that's going to be a better game for it, then yeah. We should probably talk about this. People have asked us what we think will happen with DLC as well for Mass Effect.
I think it'll be unaffected for this game, because I imagine there was already a plan in the pipeline anyway. I imagine they're still going to work on patches for the kind of near future until a lot of more things get ironed out, and then they'll maybe look to release those DLCs. I don't think there'll be any more than 2 DLCs at this point for single player, and then I think they'll just carry out the regular maps and kind of multiplayer DLC bits and pieces as and when they're kind of ready. I don't think this news, if true, will affect any single player DLC. But I don't work for Bioware, so I don't know.
Yeah, I'd hope that they would have had the DLC kind of, if not planned and kind of in the early stages, mostly done at this point, just because it would have been kind of with the development cycle itself. But as you said, the patch notes are extensive and they're obviously still patching, and I think that's probably going to delay any DLC coming out. I'd like to think that they would still release DLC just to kind of finish off the experience of the game and give players a nice complete finish and polish to the game. That's that. But again, it could be the fact that if the rumors are true, or if the speculation is true, and it's looking more likely it possibly is, and Montreal has been downsized to be a support team, it's possibly that they do just want to stop Mass Effect completely for now, just do the patches and move on to Dylan to focus on that. But we'll just have to wait and see.
We should probably mention Dylan as well, because that wasn't the only thing that came out of this EA investor call. Dylan, although there was no release date announced anyway, there has been a delay, apparently.
Apparently.
This is basically saying that the game won't release until at least March of 2018, which was fine by us. That's kind of what we thought it would be anyway, because we thought we might hear about it at E3, which is still the buzz that's going around at the moment. And then we would see it kind of early to middle part of next year, so somewhere between kind of March and June maybe next year.
It said it would be moved to, well, the financial call was April 2018 to March 2019 cycle.
Okay.
So a little bit later into the year, but to be honest, because we've not heard a huge amount on Dylan, it's probably better for them. And I don't know about you, but I feel like 2018 was kind of my estimate, like end of 2018, so it's still within my range.
I always thought next year, but I just didn't really have a kind of a point down as to when, to be honest. I always say between March and June, because that's that period between kind of like the early gaming shows of the year, and then like E3 in June. So they always try and release just before or just after E3 kind of thing.
Maybe they'll go for a November release,
Yeah, maybe. But yeah, that's kind of it really. Also, it's interesting to point out as well that EA's stock price went up dramatically, and this was before all of this, and I'm going to say it again in air quotes, news broke. So I don't know what's going on at EA at the moment, but it all seems very strange indeed. But that's it. So let us know what you think about this. Again, it's not been confirmed by EA or Bioware at this point. But people have been asking us what we think about it if true. So hopefully that's given you our thoughts on as to what we think, whether this is true or not. So thank you very much for listening and for watching. As always, you can subscribe to the channel to stay up to date on all things Mass Effect, and you can help the channel to grow by sharing the video too. We'll see you again very soon.